Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Binti Zainuddin with merit number 1818778. My partner and I will be presenting on findings regarding global news media in the Manila Bulletin. The findings will be a comparative findings between the first finding and the second finding of the data collection. Before we start with the findings, I will present the objective of the study. Firstly, to analyze the most highlighted global news issue in Manila Bulletin. Secondly, to examine the categories of news that were discovered in the Manila Bulletin. Then, to study how Manila Bulletin portrays other countries in their global news. And lastly, to compare the findings between Report 1 and Report 2 in terms of categories, newsland, and issues covered by Manila Bulletin in 2 months.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Siti Najiihah Binti Baharudin with metric number 1810840. So, I will continue to explain about the method throughout this report of the News Manila Bulletin. Firstly, for the research design, this report was designed as a qualitative paper where the data were collected through qualitative approach, particularly content analysis. As a result, we use the abstraction process to analyze the data available on the Manila Bulletin's website based on their intuition. This study was coded from Manila Bulletin online news into several variables, including time, number of paragraph, image, videos, countries, news source, newsline, and category of news. Right, so next, this study applied a structured data collection method where the finding 1 was spread out over 4 weeks, beginning on 17 October 2021 and ending on 6 November 2021. The news was collected within 21 days and there was a total 221 news recorded. But however, the finding 2 of the data collection method was spread out over 2 weeks, beginning on 29 November 2021 and ending on 12 December 2021. The news collected within 14 days and there were a total of 115 news recorded. So based on these two findings, we both pick a day to collect the data from the Manila Bulletin's news, and it took for 5 to 7 days in order to review, collect and code the news into the coding sheet template. We move on to the data analysis, where the data then will be collected and analyzed using the statistical package or SPSS and also Excel. Furthermore, the SPSS in this study was used in order to analyze the frequency in each category of the word news.
The first discussion is about the comparison between top news category in the first finding and second finding. To begin with, these results indicate that the COVID-19 category is the one that Manila Bulletin covers the most. The difference in the numbers between the two discoveries is insignificant. The first finding is 86 while the second is 83. Apart from that, the majority of the numbers presented are related to issues in the United States, such as vaccine, booster variation, Omicron, and many more. Not only that, both findings clearly shows that the United States received the most media coverage in the Manila Bulletin, and it has the most numbers in almost all categories presented. Aside from that, the other causes why COVID-19 has garnered global media attention owing to the crisis that has occurred again, particularly when a new mutant of COVID-19 exists, which is the variant Omicron. Many media outlets like Manila Bulletins are covering COVID-19 and participating in each country. Besides, the natural disaster category is also one of Manila Bulletin's most frequently covered categories for both findings. The difference in numbers is also insignificant, where the first finding is 15 and the second finding is 13. Likewise, in other categories presented also, the result shows that the number is insignificant and there is no much differences between result in first finding and second findings. And this shows that Manila Bulletin is only interested in covering the certain categories only. Next, the chart compares the coverage of the top 5 issues in the first finding and second findings. And the result reveals that the two findings are significantly different. The subject of vaccination received the most news coverage in the Manila Bulletin, as seen in the chart, with the first finding showing 37 and the second finding showing 17. The same is true for the COVID-19 cases. There is a considerably discrepancy between the two findings, with the first being 11 and the second being only 7. However, because the issues of variant Omicron did not arise during the first data collection, no variation Omicron issues were recorded in the first finding. Nonetheless, the result still shows that Manila Bulletin reported 49 variation Omicron's issue in the second findings, which dominantly issues covered by Manila Bulletin. On top of that, during the second data collection, the novel variety Omicron had only recently begun, and the numerous media outlets began to raise public awareness by publishing the first instance in each country.
Next, it is about the comparison cross-tabulation of top 10 countries and news length of Manila Bulletin in Finding 1 and Finding 2. You can see here both tables in this slide presented the result of cross-tabulation of top 10 countries and news lengths of Manila Bulletin in Finding 1 and also Finding 2. These two findings show a significant difference between each other and also resulted in different countries. According to the results, the country of the United States has the highest positive news length in Finding 1 and also Finding 2. News about China continues to produce the same amount of positive news length in both findings. Afghanistan and the United Kingdom have recorded more negative news in Finding 1 than in Finding 2, with 7 news, which is 70%, and 6 news, 60%. Surprisingly, India has not recorded any negative news but has recorded the same amount of positive news. Israel and Indonesia have the same result with only 1 news in both positive and neutral news length. However, countries such as South Africa, Switzerland, and Germany are involved in providing the outcome in Finding 2, where South Africa was hit differently as it received the most negative news compared to the other two news length. Furthermore, Switzerland has the same amount of the news with those 3 news length out of 150 news recorded. Last but not least, Germany lacked a neutral news length because it is only recorded positive and negative news from the Manila Bulletin in Finding 2. Overall, the news length category has different results in both findings across the countries studied.